The Chalnoth armada was annihilated in a scintillating flash of exotic matter as a microscopic singularity tore through the crystalline hull of their flagship. The alien fleet watched in stunned horror as humanity's audacious new warship, the UNSS Intrepid, dared to challenge the might of the ancient Chalnoth kingdom. A month prior, Captain Keith Parker and his crew had embarked on a historic mission to chart the undiscovered reaches of the Andromeda Galaxy, unaware that their sudden arrival would send shockwaves through a despotic alien empire that had reigned supreme for eons. Now as the Intrepid takes refuge in the asteroid belt of a nearby gas giant, its engines and life support crippled by the Chalnoth's devastating plasma cannons, Parker finds himself contacted by a mysterious figure from within the Chalnoth royal court itself. Cygnus, as the alien calls himself, bears an ominous warning. The Intrepid's use of advanced weaponry has violated an ancient Chalnoth law, and many in the royal court now call for the complete eradication of the human species. But Cygnus also speaks of an ancient prophecy, foretelling the return of a long-lost species from beyond the stars, a species with the power to either destroy the Chalnoth kingdom or lead it into a new era of enlightenment. As Parker weighs his options, torn between his duty to his crew and the fate of humanity itself, a quantum-encrypted message arrives from UNSC High Command. The Intrepid's warp signature has been detected. Reinforcements are coming. With the most powerful empire the galaxy has ever known on the brink of all-out war with the upstart human race, Parker must make a fateful decision. Does he place his trust in the mysterious Cygnus, risking everything on a desperate gambit to forge an alliance with the alien royals? Or does he await the arrival of human warships and colony vessels, ready to fight for humanity's very survival in a hostile galaxy? The clock is ticking, and the future of the human race hangs in the balance. As the Intrepid limped towards Chalnoth Prime, its hull scored with plasma burns and leaking atmosphere, Captain Parker stared out the forward viewport at the shimmering world below. Cygnus had assured him that appealing directly to the Chalnoth royalty was their best hope for averting all-out war. But as a battle-hardened UNSC cruiser, placing his ship at the mercy of an alien empire went against every instinct he had. The Chalnoth warships fell into formation around the Intrepid, like a pack of wolves escorting a wounded elk. Parker watched as the crystalline towers of the capital city rose up to meet them, soaring miles into the purple sky. The human ship set down on a landing pad that looked like it had been grown rather than built, a living slab of biomechanical polymer. As the landing ramp lowered, Parker took a deep breath of the alien air, feeling it tingle in his lungs. He strode down to meet the reception party, flanked by his senior officers in their dress uniforms. They were greeted by a phalanx of Chalnoth warriors, each towering over the humans at nearly 8 feet tall. The alien soldiers wore ornate armor that seemed to pulse with a light of its own, and they carried long glaives that crackled with barely restrained plasma energy. The Chalnoth Honor Guard parted to reveal a figure even more imposing, King Azeroth himself, ruler of the most powerful empire in the known universe. The alien monarch was clad in shimmering robes that shifted through a mesmerizing pattern of colors. A crown of crystalline tendrils flowed from his elongated skull, writhing gently as if alive. "Captain Parker of Earth," the king said, his voice resonating in their minds as much as their ears. "You stand accused of violating the most ancient laws of the Chalnoth. What do you have to say in your defense before I pass judgment?" Parker stepped forward, meeting the alien king's unblinking gaze. "Your Highness, I am here to prevent a catastrophic misunderstanding between our peoples. Our mission was one of peaceful exploration, not conquest." The Chalnoth nobility erupted into mocking laughter, their elaborate headdresses swaying. "Peaceful exploration?" the king scoffed. "You rent the fabric of space-time itself and annihilated an entire squadron of my ships. If that is your idea of peace, I shudder to imagine your wars." Parker held up a hand in supplication. "We only defended ourselves after being fired upon. My people wish to extend the hand of friendship to the Chalnoth and all the species of this galaxy. We may be new to the galactic stage, but we have much to offer in trade and cultural exchange." This elicited even more jeering laughter from the assembled aliens. You dabble in technologies you barely comprehend, Azeroth said. We mastered the secrets of the quantum realm while your ancestors were still huddling in caves. Parker felt a telepathic nudge at the edge of his mind. It was Cygnus, urging him to demonstrate more of humanity's advancement. The captain didn't need to be asked twice. He signaled to the Intrepid in orbit. The view through the palace's crystalline dome was suddenly lit by a blinding flare as the human ship unleashed a fusillade of exotic weapons. A nearby moon, lifeless and barren, visibly shuddered as a swarm of microscopic black holes burrowed into its core. For a breathless moment, nothing happened. Then, with a silent flash, the entire moon collapsed in on itself, condensing into a roiling blob of quantum foam, no larger than a shuttlecraft. Shocked gasps and murmurs rippled through the assembled alien dignitaries. One Chalnoth in particular stepped forward from the king's entourage, staring at the display in rapt fascination. She was smaller and more slender than the other aliens, with an aura of refined intelligence. "Father," she said breathlessly, "they've harnessed Hawking-Klein tunneling on a macro scale. The energy output is incalculable. We must learn how this is possible." The king glowered at his daughter's undisguised enthusiasm for the primitive human sorcery. "You may study this technology, Kaelara," he growled, "but do not forget the lessons of the ancient purge. Unlimited advancement is the path to ruin." Suddenly, a klaxon began blaring through the hall, and a tonal alien sound that set Parker's teeth on edge. The king whirled towards one of his ministers, a look of barely restrained rage on his face. "Report!" Azeroth snapped. The minister consulted a glowing holo display. "My liege, coded transmissions from the Argive sector. A Xanthril militia has launched an attack." The name sent a ripple of fear through the assembled Chalnoth. The Xanthril, it seemed, were a rebel faction within the Empire, religious extremists who embraced the very technologies Azeroth feared. Now they had risen up to challenge the royalty's rule at the worst possible moment. Princess Kaelara turned to her father in alarm. "They've targeted the quantum communications nexus, my king. Our command and control network is crippled." Azeroth clenched a fist, his armored gauntlet creaking. "Impossible," he snarled. "The Xanthril are primitives. They cannot hope to challenge the might of the Royal Armada." The princess shook her head, consulting her own holo display. "They've deployed some manner of nanotech weapon. Sensors show our plasma lances are all but useless against it." Her eyes met Parker's. "This technology, it appears to be of human origin." The Chalnoth king fixed Captain Parker with a glare that could melt neutronium. "Is this your doing, Earther? Some ploy to weaken us from within?" Parker raised his hands. "We're here to make peace, not war. But if you'll allow it," he nodded to his officers, "the Intrepid's weapons are effective against nanotech. We can help put down this rebellion." Azeroth looked like he'd swallowed a black hole. "You would have me accept aid from an enemy? I should obliterate your ship and be done with it." Princess Kaelara stepped between her father and the human captain. "My king, I believe this is an opportunity. Let the humans prove their intentions. If they quell the rebellion, we will have cause to open a dialogue with their people." The alien monarch ground his crystalline teeth. For a long moment, Parker thought he would order his warriors to strike the humans down where they stood. Finally, Azeroth leveled a finger at the captain. "Your ship will accompany my forces to the Argive sector. You will crush this uprising, or I will crush your species. Is that understood?" Parker met the king's gaze without flinching. "Perfectly, Your Highness." Inside, his mind was racing. The last thing he'd expected was to be thrust into the middle of an alien civil war. But if this was what it took to prevent the annihilation of his own people, so be it. As the Intrepid sped towards the Argive sector, Captain Parker found himself in an unlikely alliance with Princess Kaelara. The two stood side by side on the bridge, studying holographic battle projections of the Xanthril insurgency. "These rebel tactics," Parker mused, zooming in on a cluster of red icons. "They're using swarming algorithms I've only seen in theoretical papers from Earth's top military labs." Kaelara's crystalline tendrils quivered with concern. "How is this possible? The Xanthril are a pre-industrial society. Someone's arming them, Parker said grimly, and I intend to find out who. Their strategy session was interrupted by a priority alert from the ship's AI. Captain, we're detecting a quantum data signature from within the crystalline palace. It's calling to us. Parker exchanged a puzzled glance with Kaylara. Patch it through. A flickering hologram materialized before them. An ancient star map etched in flowing alien script. Kaylara gasped, her tendrils writhing in agitation. Impossible, she breathed. This is from the restricted archives. How did you... We didn't, Parker cut in. Your palace sent it to us. The princess's multifaceted eyes widened as she studied the map. These coordinates, they're far beyond the edge of Chalnoth space. She pointed to a pulsing icon. This world, it bears markings I've never seen before. Parker leaned in, his heart racing. Those aren't Chalnoth symbols. They're human. Before either could process the implications, alarms blared throughout the ship. On the main view screen, a plasma bolt lanced out from the palace, striking King Azeroth's private chambers. Father! Kaylara cried, her normally composed demeanor shattering. Parker barked orders to his crew. Shields up! Arm singularity missiles! The bridge erupted into controlled chaos as the Intrepid's weapons came online. Through the maelstrom of incoming fire, Parker spotted a slender figure hurtling through the air towards the king's balcony. There, he shouted, zooming the display. Some kind of personal phase shift technology. They're bypassing your defenses. Kaylara's eyes blazed with persistence. Get me down there, now! Without hesitation, Parker grabbed a portable shield generator and nodded to his tactical officer. 2 to beam directly to the king's chambers. In a shimmering haze, they materialized amidst the acrid smoke of the throne room. King Azeroth lay prone on the floor, his crystalline armor cracked and leaking strange fluids. The assassin loomed over him, plasma pistol raised for the killing blow. No! Kaylara screamed, hurling herself in front of her father. The assassin fired. Time seemed to slow as the searing bolt of energy struck the princess square in the chest. She crumpled to the ground, her body convulsing. Parker's training took over. In one fluid motion, he activated the shield generator and fired his own sidearm. The assassin's head exploded in a shower of crystalline shards. As the dust settled, the throne room descended into pandemonium. Royal guards poured in, weapons drawn. Cygnus materialized beside them, his psionic powers crackling with barely suppressed fury. The Whisper King, he snarled. This was his doing. King Azeroth stirred, his voice weak but full of authority. Kaylara, my daughter! Parker knelt beside the fallen princess, scanning her with a medical tricorder. She's alive, but barely. We need to get her to our medbay immediately. The king's eyes met Parker's, filled with a mixture of pain and grudging respect. You have proven yourself, human. Perhaps we were hasty in our judgment. A violent tremor shook the palace as another volley of fire struck home. Parker's communicator chirped urgently. Captain! His XO's voice crackled through. A human fleet just dropped out of warp at the system's edge. They're engaged with a Chalnoth armada. Parker's blood ran cold. He turned to the king, whose expression mirrored his own dawning horror. Your Majesty, Parker said, his voice tight, I think we've all been played. The captain's mind raced. The lost human colony, the Xanthril uprising, the assassination attempt. It was all connected. Someone or something was manipulating both their civilizations, pushing them towards war. As medics rushed to stabilize Kaylara and Cygnus began coordinating the palace's defenses, Parker made a fateful decision. He would defy his orders, risk everything, to uncover the truth behind this cosmic conspiracy. Intrepid, he commanded, prepare for immediate departure. Set course for the coordinates in that star map. King Azeroth fixed him with an unreadable alien gaze. Where will you go? Parker's teeth clenched. To find our past, and maybe save both our futures. Parker's eyes locked with King Azeroth's as the gravity of the situation sank in. With a swift nod to his crew, the captain initiated emergency protocols. Intrepid, engage quantum drive. Get us out of here now. The ship lurched as it tore through space, leaving behind the chaos of the Chalnoth homeworld. Princess Kylara lay unconscious in the medbay, her crystalline form pulsing with an otherworldly light as the medical team worked feverishly to stabilize her. Cygnus paced the bridge, his psionic energy crackling with almost unchecked fury. This Whisper King, I should have sensed his influence earlier. He's been manipulating events from the shadows. Parker's teeth clenched as he studied the star map that had mysteriously appeared. Whatever's going on, the answers lie beyond the edge of known space. We're going to find that lost colony. Days stretched into weeks as the Intrepid pushed deeper into uncharted territory. The crew grew restless, whispers of mutiny bubbling beneath the surface. They were fugitives now, branded as traitors by both their peoples. Kylara recovered slowly, her alien physiology presenting unique challenges to the human medical staff. She spent hours poring over the star map with Parker, piecing together fragments of ancient Chalnoth lore. There, she said one day, pointing to a faint cluster of stars. That's where we'll find Koresh. The Intrepid dropped out of warp above a vibrant green world orbiting a crimson star. As they descended through wisps of opalescent clouds, the ruins of a massive colony ship came into view, half buried in a verdant jungle. By the void, Parker breathed. The Prometheus! They sat down in a clearing near the wreckage. As the away team prepared to disembark, movement flashed at the edge of the tree line. Figures emerged, unmistakably human in form, yet with skin that shimmered like Chalnoth crystal. One of the beings stepped forward, raising a hand in greeting. Welcome, starborn kin. We are the Karishi, and we have awaited your return for countless generations. Parker exchanged a glance with Kylara, their expressions a mix of awe and trepidation. Whatever answers they sought, it was clear their journey had only just begun. The Koreshi guide's words hung in the air, heavy with promise and foreboding. Captain Parker stepped forward, his boots crunching on the alien soil. I'm Captain James Parker of the UNSS Intrepid. We've come seeking answers about humanity's past. The Koreshi's crystalline skin shimmered in the crimson sunlight. Then you have come to the right place, Starborn. But be warned, the truth you seek may change everything. Over the next days, the Koreshi shared their knowledge, piecing together fragments of a cosmic puzzle that spanned millennia. They spoke of the Zelmalora, ancient beings who had seeded life across the galaxies. The Koreshi were living proof of their experiments, a hybrid species born of human and alien DNA. As they delved deeper into the archives, Princess Kylara's crystalline tendrils quivered with excitement. Look at this, she said, gesturing to a holographic star map. These coordinates, they're deep in the Triangulum galaxy. Parker studied the pulsing point of light. That's where we need to go next. The journey was perilous. The Intrepid pushed its quantum drive to the limit, dodging gravitational anomalies and stellar debris. Months passed in the void between galaxies. The crew grew restless, their nerves frayed by the endless expanse of stars. Finally, they emerged in an uncharted system orbiting a binary black hole. At its heart drifted a desolate rogue planet, its surface scarred by eons of cosmic radiation. As the away team touched down, Parker felt a chill run through him. The planet's surface was a graveyard of technological marvels. Towering metal spires, now crumbling, reached for the starless sky. Etched monoliths jutted from the ground like the bones of forgotten gods. By the void, Kylara breathed, her multifaceted eyes wide. What happened here? They made their way to a crumbling archive, its walls covered in symbols that seemed to shift and dance. As Parker ran his hand along an inscription, a piercing wail filled the air. The ground trembled beneath their feet. "We've triggered something!" shouted one of the Karishi scouts. From the ruins emerged swarms of metallic insects, their bodies pulsing with an eerie light. The nanites converged on a nearby spire, reducing it to liquid metal in seconds. "Back to the ship!" Parker ordered, firing his plasma rifle at the advancing swarm. "Now!" They sprinted for the landing site, the hungry nanites nipping at their heels. As the Intrepid's engines roared to life, A massive shape emerged from a dimensional rift near the black hole. The ship rocked as an electromagnetic pulse washed over it. Every system went dark, save for life support. "What is that thing?" Parker demanded, staring at the view screen in awe. The vessel dwarfed the Intrepid, its hull etched with symbols that seemed to writhe and twist. Kylara's eyes widened in recognition. "It's Xel Maloran," she whispered. "An Ark ship." As the enormous vessel loomed closer, Parker realized they were out of options. He turned to Kylara, his expression grim. "You said you recognize those symbols. Can you communicate with them?" Kylara nodded hesitantly. "I can try, but Captain, if I'm right about what that ship is, we may have awakened something beyond our comprehension." Parker squeezed her crystalline hand. "Then let's hope we can make them understand we come in peace." As Kylara closed her eyes, focusing her psionic energy, Parker couldn't shake the feeling that they stood on the precipice of a revelation that would change the course of history, not just for humanity, but for all sentient life in the cosmos.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.